Good afternoon, and thank you for attending today's session. This session is being recorded. It will be turned off when we reach the question and answer session. It will be available to you for future use on our YouTube channel. For your convenience, the link will be sent out after the webinar. So this is Rose Walterbeek with the Nevada Department of Agriculture, and today's webinar is the application renewal process. Thank you again for being here today and taking some time out of your busy schedule. So the goal of the webinar is to provide technical assistance to all sponsors on the application renewal process. Today's professional standard learning codes are in the 3000, specifically 3200 for program management. So for today's agenda, the basic overview of the application renewal process will be the focus. It's divided into two parts. Part 1 is the online activities, and Part 2 is the forms download, what needs to be printed and submitted to the Food and Nutrition Division in a hard copy file. We're going to briefly describe each document, let you know who must submit what and when, and also what's new for this year. We'll talk about the timeline and wrap up with any questions you may have. So for Part 1, the online activities, the first thing you'll need to do is log into CNP. This will be broken out into two portions for the application renewal. The first part will be looking at your site information, and the second part you'll be editing any of your sponsor information. So this should look familiar to most of you. So for the Part 1 on the online activities, you'll just want to log into your sponsor application. And when you get into this file, just double check to make sure you're in school year 2016-17. You should see your sponsor name there with all your corresponding information. So again, just verify that you've toggled over to the 2016-17 school year to get started. And again, you'll find your sponsor name and double click on that hyperlink. So on the sponsor information, what you'll see is a screen like this. And this is the start of the application packet. So when you're in the 2016-17 forms, you'll want to go to that second Go button, which is the site information. Again, we're going to have you do the site information first. And you'll start to see your site school names and or RCCIs pre-populated on the site information sheet. So you want to check all the information that has been pulled through our CNP system and make any revisions needed. And just to clear up some questions on a school year coding. So for the base year, you want to enter the greater number of the school year cycle. For example, the 2016-17 school year would be typed in 2017. Again, the greater number of the year is how we recognize it in the CNP system. So for example, if you're adding a provision base year, you would type 2017 in the coded box. So in all that site information, you've gone through all of your sites, you've made all your upgrades, you're going to go ahead and submit that button there on the right hand of the screen. And keep in mind when you submit files to us, it's kind of like a library book. When you check it in, we will be able to make the changes and review it, and you won't be able to check it out until it's been approved by staff at Nevada Department of Agriculture. So the second portion of the application is looking at that sponsor information. So again, take a look at the 2016-17 school year. You're going to go ahead and look in that right-hand corner to make sure you're in the right year. You're going to go to that green Go button on Sponsor Application, and you can get the sponsor portion of the application started. And here's a screenshot of what that's going to look like. So again, check the information entered from prior year. It's going to roll over, make any revisions needed. One area you're going to need to double check on the sponsor application portion is just to verify on the site information, which I have outlined here in the red box, that all the site information has been brought forward to the sponsor application page. So for example, in our example here, you would want to make sure that you have 10 lunch sites for the National School Lunch Program, and 10 of them are in the severe need breakfast. And if you have no other program areas, such as this example, then you'll be ready to enter your estimated meals in each of the corresponding categories. If your site information has not been filled out or has not been pre-populated correctly, the system will not allow you to enter any data into the estimated meals. And so please double check that all the site information is correct when you get to this page of the sponsor application packet. And then when all the information has been entered and updated, you go ahead and click that Submit button right there on the right-hand side of the slide. And then if you could please notify our department that you've completed that portion of your application, we can start the review process on our end. So the contact person is Stephanie Desquanco, and her email is listed on the screen here, ddesquanco@agri.nv.gov. And once we've received and approved all of your paper forms and the online application, we will approve that application in CNP. So this will complete the online application portion of the webinar. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call at the Nevada Department of Agriculture. So part 2 of the application is a paper form submission. So we're going to go overview of all these forms, how you download them in CNP, and please keep in mind that not all forms might be needed by your site. We've also revised and updated a checklist to keep you on track and ensure that all the documents are submitted to us at one time. So we're going to give you some screenshots of that checklist document as well. So again, you can log back into that sponsor information, verify that you're in the 2016-17 school year, and you'll toggle down to the Go button where the arrow is indicating the forms download. And this is what the download menu is going to look like. Again, we'll have everything posted for the 2016-17 school year with everything updated and what's available to you. So new for this year is a revised application checklist. So here's a quick screenshot of what that's going to look like for you. And we want to have you use this checklist for all the documents you need. So new for 2017, we are requesting an ending fund balance report or a profit and loss from the 2015-16 school year. So this is something that would have been completed by your auditors, and what we're taking a look at is your ending fund balance and the profit and loss for all NSLP sponsors in the state of Nevada this year. We'd also like a copy of your school calendar for 2016-17. And if it's still in a revision form as well, please send it what you have available at the time of the application process. And also, we would like your application materials for the upcoming school year, including your sample media release. So this is an area that we've seen in the past year of administrative reviews that not all folks have this sample media release completed. So by us checking it ahead of time with your application packet, we want to ensure a seamless document review with the administrative process coming up for the administrative reviews. There is a separate checklist for RCCIs, which does not contain a lot of these materials because they're not required of our RCCIs in the state of Nevada. So same as last year, we also will need your paid lunch equity tool. And for those of you folks with a food service management or a vended meal contract, we need to approve that renewal before you can execute it, so it would be part of this application process. And then lastly, we would like the latest version of your wellness policy. With your application, we will be reviewing those documents as well. So even if you've just recently sent it, we'd like another copy of it in a PDF file if possible, so we can continue to screen the wellness policy. So the attestation is a form that must be completed each year by all sponsors. And what that's saying is that you will be adhering to the meal pattern in place. So this form must be printed, signed, and submitted to us with original ink. The policy statement, we have condensed and revised this form as well. We will need a new statement from all sponsors. And we do have specific forms for NSLP, RCCIs, and Special Milk Program due to different program requirements. So we'd also like you to print this, sign it off with original ink, and send it in the packet. The certification page is required only if you've had a change with your designated official. And please keep in mind that a governing board member cannot appoint themselves as a designated official. You also may need some lead time to get this item on your board agenda. So new for 2016-17 is we will be getting a new permanent agreement in place for all sponsors. So in effect this year is some new regulation changes to CFR 200, more commonly known as the Super Circular. So what that means for you is that we will need an updated permanent agreement for everybody because we just have some coding language changes, and the Super Circular has, again, USDA has condensed and revised some of the regulations, and that will keep everybody in line with the regulations under the Super Circular. And also keep in mind that this must be signed by that designated official that we just spoke about a few slides back. So same as last year, the paid lunch equity tool. And this went out as a numbered memo 2016-17 back in November. So if you need another paid lunch equity tool and instructions, please give me a call or an email, or double check your numbered memos for the National School Lunch Program sponsors. Or you can go straight to the USDA website and grab that tool right off the web, I've included the URL for you. And please contact us if you need assistance with completing that tool. Again, for those of you with food service management companies, we will need a copy of that renewal document, and it must be approved by the Nevada Department of Agriculture in writing from us before execution of that contract. And so we're hoping to get those from you by May or June at the latest, so everyone can start rolling out the new school year, which starts officially July 1. And again, that updated wellness policy that we will need the latest version of. So some other helpful documents we will have posted for you: reporting due dates. And what this is a form that shows you the dates for the school year, what must be submitted with the application, and what you want to keep on hand for those administrative reviews. We also have blank copies of the user ID form. And again, this is to add and remove users from CNP 2000 and the Mustang lists, as well as the email distribution lists. Menu standards. The good news for all is there are no changes this year. So just continue on with your menu planning as you have in prior years with no changes for the 16-17 school year. We also have a vendor registration or a form for change in payment status. We will be posting the income eligibility guidelines for 16-17. Again, that just went out in numbered memo form. And the application template, we have not seen any updates from USDA. So at this point, feel comfortable updating just last year's forms with updated phone numbers and contact information. And we'd also like you to include that with your packet, including your parent letter and your verification forms. And we can paper screen those as part of the renewal application process as well. So the timeline. CNP will be open soon for the 2016-17 application renewal process. We are in the process of consolidating information so we can populate the site information for everyone statewide. And we will be sending an email out to you shortly when that is open for you to go ahead and start downloading those forms and when we will have them posted. And then also some dates we're looking at for a due date to the Food and Nutrition Division. We'd like these applications in by May 15th for RCCIs and June 1st from NSLP sponsors. You can get them in earlier, so once we open up that CMP for your online application processing. But we're looking at these dates so we have enough time to paper screen and get this back out to you. I know some of you folks will be headed out for summer break soon, and we just want to have things buttoned up by the end of this fiscal year, June 30. So there's seamless operations when you folks come back in July and August for the start of the school year. So please keep in mind that documents can be scanned and emailed. Original signatures must be signed in blue ink. And all the email documents will be going to our program officer, Stephanie Desquanco, at agri.nv.gov. So once all the online portions are completed and all the hard copy documents have been completed to us, then we will approve your application and we will be sending you a formal approval letter. So I just want to clarify that in the past some folks thought that this process had been completed, but in fact there was not a formal approval letter generated. And that's just a correspondence that will outline what we have you approved for and whether you're at the especially needy breakfast rate, for example, and that the claim process will be open and ready for you to submit for the 16-17 school year when you get to that spot when you're starting to put in for reimbursement for your lunches. So that just about covers kind of all the nuts and bolts for the application process. You can go ahead and start that online portion at any time, and we'll just be letting you folks know when those hard copies will be available for you to start downloading and printing off and updating and getting signatures. So with that, I'm going to kind of wrap up this portion of it as well as the recording. And just a reminder that the professional standard learning codes for this webinar is in the 3000 arena, 3200 for program management. So feel free at any time to give us a phone call or an email if anything pops up once you get in the application renewal process as you start to gather these documents and get forms filled out and completed in CNP.